Hello friends, my name is Bilal Khan and today I'm going to be talking about another topic of the Rust book that is called the generics. So let's go to the screen and I will show you there. As you can see here that I'm currently present in this Visual Studio Code, and if I open this tab, you can see here that these are all the lessons that I have covered in my previous videos. So if you have not watched my previous videos, you make sure to watch them in order to understand the Rust programming language properly. Okay, so now let's create another lesson that is going to be the what you can see here, generics. So let's write cargo new and then 23 or 23rd lesson, that is called the generics. That is the folder name, and the name of the package is generics. Okay, so yeah, this is the generics folder or directory that is created. Inside this there is a source directory and the main.rs. So yeah, let's close this first, and then the first thing that I'm going to do is to define what the generics are. So let's write like generics is the feature of Rust that will take multiple data types in one place. Okay, so generally when we give the parameters or when we give the data types to a variable, like multiple variables will be defined. But what the generics does is basically help you to like define one generic, and then this generic will accept all the data types. So now you don't have to manually type the data types every time. Instead, what the generic does, it will allow you to mention the generic first time, and then after that you can pass the generic multiple times in order for multiple data types. Like this, that data type could be string, integer, floating point, any type of data type, but you just have to define that generic one time, and that will help you in order to define multiple data types in one place. So let me just show you with the help of examples so that you can understand it properly. So now let's say if I write data, first of all I will define it in a traditional way, that what was the previous way, and then I will define the generics, that how it solves the problem. So now let's write a string that is going to be the string data type. These are the parameters. Okay, now let's write the integer I8, and the next thing is floating point number, that is F32. Okay, inside this what I will do here, I will write like what you can say here, let me just write like print statement. Okay, inside this print statement what I will do here, I will write string. This will basically denote the string, and next thing is going to be print line integer. Okay, and then the print line, and you can say here float, like this. Okay, now let's call this function inside the main. How we can do this, I will first of all write a string with the data type string from hello world. Okay, after that let integer is going to be I8, and then integer is going to be 45, and then floating point number is going to be F32, is that going to be 45.5. Now let's call this inside this what you can say here, data function as argument. So let's write string integer float. Okay, so now let's print this cd, what you can see here, 23rd lesson, that is about generics, cargo run. Now you can see here that this is the data that is printed here, and yeah, it is printed successfully. But the problem is this, let's say if you have multiple data types with multiple variables, then it will be a headache for you to define the data types for each of the variable for multiple variables. So this is causing the headache, and this is taking a lot of space also for you to define multiple data types with multiple variables. So now in order to avoid this, you can use the generics. So how you can use this? So yeah, this is what the topic is all about. So let's remove this. First of all, I will remove all of these data types because I don't need it. And now the first thing that I'm going to do is to write value, and that value is going to be having the t. So this t can be changed also. It can be e, it can be r, it can be u, it can be a, b, whatever you want it, like it can be from a to z. Okay, so now I will define just t. After that, this is basically showing this, that the value is having the generics data type. Now I have defined this value is going to be the generics data type, but how the Rust will know that this t is the generics data type? So in order for us to in order for the Rust to show it that this t is the generic data type, I have to declare the t here also. Like first of all, I will write the greater than sign and the smaller than sign like this, and in between what you can see here, smaller than sign and greater than sign, and in between I will write the t. So this t will basically denote that this data function is accepting the generics. Okay, so now the Rust will know through this thing, through this t, that this data is going to be accepting the generics, and now once it accepts the generics, then it will be called as parameter as values. So I hope you understood. So this t, this value won't work until you declare this t as generics, because this t will identify this value is going to be generics. Okay, so if I remove this, then it will give me the error. Okay, so if I remove this, then it will give me the error, because this value what you can say with this t data type is not identifying, the Rest is not identifying that what this t means. But if you declare this like inside this, then it will identify that this t means that it is generics, and it will be used inside this function. So I hope from this point you understood. Now let's return the same t, because I have declared this t, and it is identified to the Rust that it is generics, and now I have used this as parameters, and now I'm returning this t also, in order for us to call in order for us to use all of these values inside this main functions as the returning values. So now let's write return value. Okay, so now let's remove this. Okay, so yeah, this is what the function is all about, in which the first of all the t will be written so that the Rust can know that this is actually the generics, and after that the value is of the t of any data type will be written as parameter, and that the same t value will be returned. Now what I'm going to do, I'm going to first of all write what you can see here. I need to go through this data function. So as you can see here, that inside this data function there are 3 arguments or 3 parameters that are passed here. So what I need to do, I need to remove this, because there is only one parameter that needs to be written here as an argument. Okay, so as you can see here, this is only one value. Previously there were 3 values. So what I need to do, I need to pass the string here, and similarly I need to pass the integer here, because in that data function there is only one value that is going to be written, okay, as arguments, and that is going to be a float. So yeah, these are the 3 values that I need to return, and after that what I need to do, I need to paste the print statement here and simply copy this here. Remove this because I don't need it. Remove the string from here and write here, and similarly I need to write the what you can see here, data integer. I need to write close the brackets, data floating point numbers. Okay, now you understood that how do I mean by this, and I called this function inside the print statement, and now it will give me the same data, but you don't need to define the data types every time in this data function. So if I call this cargo run, you can see here that is giving me the same information as it was giving me before, but now I don't have to struggle by mentioning the data types manually. Instead I have just defined the data type one time, and now it will be printed in front of me. So yeah, this is what the generics mean. So now let's comment this, and now let's work on another exercise that will be basically dealing with the structs in order for us to understand that what the generics is there and how it can be used in the structs also. So let's write struct, and in struct I will write holder, and here inside this holder, after this holder name is written, I will write the T here, because now the Rust will know that this holder is going to be accepting the values of generics. Okay, so now let's write value, and that is tree. So from this point, I hope it is clear that basically this struct is accepting the generics value, and that value is this that is given to it. Okay, now let's write the implementation side of it. So implementation will accept the holder, and same T will be written here, because this T is referring to this structure in order for us to in order for the Rust to know that it is going to be working on the working with the generics. Okay, so this is the same struct name that will be like written here in order for the Rust to know that this is going to be referring to this struct and it will be working with generics. Okay, now let's write curly braces, and inside this curly braces there is, I'm going to be writing function new, and inside this function new, what I'm going to do, I'm going to be like writing value. Okay, I'm going to be writing value, and value is going to be T. Okay, and now I will write the self. So this self is basically creating a new instance of this structure. Okay, so let me just write it in front of you. So after that I will write after that I will let you know that what this code means. So let's write holder value. So this is what the code is looking like. First of all, I have written the new function, and this new function will create a new instance or a new copy of this struct. Okay, so this new function will create a new instance or a new copy of this struct, in which every value that I will pass here, each value will contain its own space in the memory. Okay, so each value will contain its own space in the memory, and this self is basically what you can see here, returning or the holder struct itself. Okay, so this self is returning the holder struct, so that now you don't need to like pass the values in the function manually. Instead, you just need to write the name with the value, and now this will be referring to this holder function, and after that you don't need to pass the values manually every time. So let me just go through the example so that I can show you properly. So let's say if I write the function here, and inside the function, let's say if I directly use this struct. So how I can use this struct? I can simply write data and then holder, and inside this holder I have to pass the what you can say here, any value. It could be like integer, it could be floating point numbers, it could be strings, or any kind of number. So you can see here that I am manually writing every like the holder struct every time. That is not required anymore with this new function. Okay, so what I need to do, if I use this function, like if I use this new function, it will be like this. Okay, let data holder new, and I will call this I will call here any kind of number or any kind of value. So now how simple it is. Instead of writing the holder struct every time, I just need to write a holder with colon new function that will basically be accepting all the values. Okay, so yeah, this is what the whole new function is all about, in which it will take the value that will contain its own space in the memory, and it will return the holder, what you can say, holder struct, so that you don't need to repeat the holder struct every time in this main function. Instead, you just need to call them new, and it will accept every data type value. Okay, so now let's first of all remove this, and now here is one point that I also forgot about, and that is basically to write the T here also. Okay, So what does this T mean? So this T is basically referring to this holder struct that will basically be dealing with generics. But now I have implemented, like I have written this T also with implementation or with this method, so that the Rust can know that this T is also going to be working with the method. Okay, so this method is also going to be working with the generics. So previously this struct was dealing with the generics, but now the Rust should know that this method should will also be working with the generics with this struct. So now both of these things are clear to Rust, that this struct is dealing with the generics and this method is also dealing with the generics. So from this point I hope you understood. Now let's write what you can say here, let data, or what you can say here, let string. Let string new. First of all I need to write write holder new, and inside this holder I will write hello world. I will convert this like into string like this, and then integer holder new and 45, and float holder new, or you can see here 45.5. Now each of these functions, these values will contain the separate space in the memory. So let's write print statement. Let's write string, integer, and then float. So now you can see here that it is giving me the message that cannot be formatted. Okay, let's go through it, that what's the problem here. Holder new. Okay, I forgot that I need to write the value with it also. So dot value and dot value. So basically this is the value that is going to be the of generic types, and this string, integer, floating, these are all the things that are basically these are all the values that is shown here, but the holder new is containing the value that it needs to get it. Although this string, integer, floating containing this data 45, 45.5 or hello world, but this holder new is containing the value or the actual value that needs to be printed. Now if I write this, it will not give me the error. I think that look with similar name exists. Okay, integer, sorry, I forgot to mention the right name. Okay, you can see here hello world 45, 45.5. So yeah, this is how the generics will work, in which first of all you define the struct and you define to the Rust that this struct is going to be accepting the generics, and instead also you write the you wrote the method in which you specifically wrote that this method is also going to be accepting the generics, and you mentioned the what you can see here, the struct here with this T also, that is referring to this holder that will basically accept the generics, and after that you wrote the new that will basically take the generics value and it will return the holder what you can see here, holder struct, for you to like not repeat the holder struct multiple times. Instead you just need to write new function and it will accept all of the values in it. Okay, after that you wrote the variables, multiple variables, in order for you to write multiple data in it. After that you printed them and with values. So yeah, this is how the struct will look, the generics will look like. And yeah, it is like difficult initially when you are working with it, like dealing with this T multiple times. But if you are practicing it multiple times, or if you are practicing more, then you will understand that how the generics works and how it will be helpful for you. So yeah, I hope you understood and like this video. So if you liked it, then make sure to subscribe to my channel. And if you have any questions, then ask those questions in the comment section below. I'll be happy to answer all of them. So till then, goodbye.